Hey guys, welcome back to Typo's Garage. Finally was able to pick up that bike that I've been talking about in the videos, the project bike. Took a while to coordinate with the guy, but it's finally here. Picked it up in the snow last night, and I'm going to show you what it is. Now I will say it's nothing special. It's not a big bike. It's actually a beginner bike, but I kind of like the idea of a beginner bike, and instead of this going into the garbage or scrap, which to some people might think it should, but this bike is going to be great once I'm done with it for someone learning how to ride. It's a low mile bike. It's been sitting outside for over a year. Not sure if it's been started, so we're going to go through all that. Not in this video. I'm just going to go through checking it out, showing you all the issues with it, and we might try to start it. We'll see if the battery's good. I didn't get back till late last night in the dark, so it was too cold. Starting to get cold here in Flagstaff. Looks nice, but it's actually pretty windy and cold. The altitude lets all the warm air out at night, not having clouds. Can't really complain because it is sunny about 300 days out of the year, so I'll take it. But here is the bike. Alright, so here it is. Like I said, don't get too excited. But it is a 2008 Yamaha V-Star 250. So when I said beginner bike, it is definitely a beginner bike. It's got a little more horsepower than the Hawk, but still not too crazy. It has been sitting outside for over a year, I guess. You can kind of see, the tire is flat. The rear tire is cracking. Looks like it's gonna need some seals for the forks. Definitely. Looks like they tried to put in this Amazon headlight that does not fit. Luckily the original housing is still here, so I can get a replacement bulb for that. Or not bulb, but glass. Beautiful spray paint on all the wiring and crankcase. Not really fooling anyone here, but a lot of this stuff I'm thinking can be polished up. The tank was sprayed terribly. It looks like the decal is still under there. Doesn't look too bad though. I could probably Bondo a couple of these dents. For the most part, it's not terrible. I plan on repainting that. Seat, I'll have to see if I can source one. If not, I might just recover this one. It's full of, ew. Yeah, we're gonna have to replace that. It painted over the tail. Loose. I put these LED turn signals on here. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that they did not put a relay in, so I'm guessing they blink real fast. Common thing. I'm not sure what all this red crap in here is. Maybe it was spray painted red at some point. You can see it on the inside of the fork here. A lot of this stuff can really just be polished up. It's really dirty. You can see the Arizona mud caked on there. Let's see here. Got our pine needles from it sitting outside. Luckily they did have spark plugs in it, and they had the gas cap closed, so there is hopefully no water in it. It's like all the relays and stuff are here. I don't know where this cover is. Have to sort. Once I figure out what color I want, I'll probably source one. A little dent here. They said it was laid over once or twice. I mean, it is a beginner bike, so not the worst thing. Rims look pretty good. Can probably be polished up. Shocks maybe leaking a little bit. Gas kind of stinks. So here's the nice part, this chain, pretty rough. So I plan on changing the sprockets anyways to, you know, take a little stress off the motor if I do want to go 70 mile an hour. Common thing to do with this, sort of the same thing I did with the Hawk, you know, just to help the engine a little bit. I think it has dual air cleaners. Let me see, one there, yeah. So we'll have to take those apart, check the oil. Everything down here seems pretty solid. Looks like fuel lines? No. They spray painted all the gas lines. Here's the other cover. This can be polished up. Here's the cracking. So that's something. Definitely get some new tires. Probably some new grips. Everything up here is kind of gummy from sitting outside. Not sure if that's something that can be fixed. Throttle's pretty good. Doesn't stick too bad. Have to polish this up here. Looks like they're cracked a little bit in there. But it's got 6,700 miles. For this motor, it's still probably got 15,000 before it needs any kind of major service. So fairly low mileage for the year. This is pretty gnarly. It's like oil has been leaking out of this seal for a while. I bet there's nothing in here. Brakes. Let me see if I can see the brake pads. Oh boy. Oil all over the brakes. The pads look okay though. Fairly still there. Okay, so here's the red paint. A lot of people do that to their first bike, make it custom, even though it's pretty gaudy. But I would like to find a rack for the back here. It's honestly a nice looking bike for what it is. Really, it's a great beginner bike, and I'll go over some of these stats. So it's a 250cc air-cooled V-twin. You can see it's a very small V-twin, but it is a V-twin. It's a 5-speed chain-driven, as we looked at, which is, you know, pretty serviceable, pretty standard. The bike only weighs wet 324 pounds, supposedly, which is super light. It's honestly lighter than that bike. Like, I'm barely doing anything. I just picked it up. That's pretty nice for a beginner, you know. When you get into heavier bikes and you're at stoplights, it's hard to, you know, manage the weight of like a big Harley at a light, especially if you step on gravel, you know, you're going down. This bike falls over, you know, you're going to be able to pick it up with no issue. So that's a big plus. This tank here is a 2.5 gallon tank, and it's supposed to get about 78 miles a gallon. I would say with the miles, it's probably get about 70 to 75, but you're still looking at, you know, 190 miles to a tank on a 2.5 gallon tank. It's pretty good. It's a great city bike. So honestly, you know, all these things were thought about when, you know, making a beginner rider bike or city riding bike. So the bike leans over pretty far, not crazy, but it's pretty far, which is, you know, ideal for a new rider to be able to get your leg over the seat, even though the seat is only 27 inches. So my knee, I'm 6 foot, touches the side. You know, in comparison, my knee barely touches the motor on this bike. This bike is very tall, but it's a cruiser, so it's got pretty low seat height. Forward controls, which is new for me. I've never ridden anything with forward controls, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's a good looking bike. It is honestly probably one of the best looking beginner cruisers. It's about the same size as a Sportster. Definitely less power, obviously. But, I mean, it gets you used to the size of a bike. You know, the handlebars, seat position, everything is pretty similar to a bike like that. Although I think a lot of the Sportsters have mid controls. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, it's a great starter bike, and that's why I want to restore this and hopefully, you know, give it a new life to someone who wants to learn how to ride. That's going to be the goal of this whole thing here. So I'm gonna check the oil real quick and we'll try to fire it up. He said the battery was good. I'm not sure, so let's do that. It does smell like there's some fuel in the crankcase. Fuel smells a little old. Like I said, it's been sitting for a year. Let's see. I don't see any oil. There may not be oil in this. There's probably enough to turn it over, so let's try it. Let's see what lights work on this. Tail light works. Turn signal is not responding. Turns over. I don't want to run it any longer in case there's no oil. It's smoking pretty good too. It does smell like fuel, not so much like oil burning, so that's good. I wonder if these baffles are drilled out, because let's see here. Oh, they sure are. Let's say it's a lot louder than it should be. Is that the pavement through there? Oh yeah. What the heck? Okay. Alright, so we know it turns over, we know it runs. Didn't sound too bad, honestly. I don't want to run it anymore without changing the fluids and, you know, taking a look at the spark plugs. Seeing, it didn't seem like there was a lot of pressure coming out of this, would that be the rear cylinder? Yeah. So, not sure what the deal is with that. So we'll have to do some digging here. I think before I tear it down, we should get it running. So in the next video, I think that's what we'll do. You know, change spark plugs, oil, and get some fresh gas in it. Get it to run on its own, and then we'll go from there. Taking everything off, restoring it, getting it as much as I can do without spending money. Obviously, when we need to spend money, we're going to, but there's a lot that we're going to be able to do. To me, it looks a lot like my SV650, where it just looks like it's in bad shape, but if you really take some time and some elbow grease, you know, it turns out pretty good. Alright guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, one of these corners here, go ahead and subscribe, and you know, join me on this journey. Turn this bike into something we can ride, and we'll see how it goes. You know, maybe turn a profit on it. Sorry, I need to be looking over here, but oh well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, and you know, this should be a pretty easy bike to work on. You know, not too much harder than that bike, but we'll see. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see ya.